God sees your weariness. You may feel like you're walking through life invisible, like nobody truly understands what you're carrying. But let me tell you, God sees it all. He doesn't just see the smile you paste on your face. He sees the tears you cry behind closed doors. He sees you lying awake at night wondering how you're going to make it through another day. He sees the moments you encourage others while you're secretly desperate for someone to encourage you. You're worn out, not just tired in your body, but tired in your soul. And while the world might rush past you, while people might overlook your pain because you're the strong one, God is not blind to your exhaustion. He's the God who numbers the hairs on your head, so you better believe he notices the weight on your shoulders. You've been showing up for work, for family, for ministry, for friends, pouring yourself out day after day, and you're running on fumes. But I want you to hear me. You are not unseen. You are not forgotten. You're not just another face in the crowd. The God who formed you in your mother's womb has his eyes on you, and not just the dressed up version of you. He sees the version that's crumbling. He sees the version that doubts, the version that's almost ready to quit. But here's the good news. He doesn't just see your tiredness. He responds to it. God doesn't just sit in heaven and observe your struggle. No, he steps into it. He leans in close to the weary-hearted. Scripture tells us he is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That's not just a poetic line, it's a reality. When you're too weak to lift your hands, when you've got nothing left to say, he's interceding with groanings too deep for words. When you're tired of pretending you're okay, he gives you permission to fall apart in his presence. You don't have to be strong for God. You just have to be real with him. The beauty of being seen by God is that he doesn't just see where you are. He knows how to bring you through it. He's not surprised by your fatigue. He's not disappointed in your weariness. In fact, your weakness is the very place where his strength shows up. You've been running on empty because you thought you had to do it all alone. But God says, come to me. I've seen the battle. I've seen the tears. I've seen the weight you carry. Come and I will give you rest. So don't mistake silence for absence. Don't confuse tiredness with abandonment. God has had his eyes on you the whole time. You may feel forgotten by men, but you are favored by God. And even in your tired state, he's still working, he's still planning, he's still holding you because he sees you and he will not let you fall. You are not alone. I know the enemy has tried to convince you otherwise. I know life has pushed you into corners where it felt like nobody was coming to your rescue. I know you've sat in rooms full of people and still felt invisible. I know you smiled in photos while your heart was breaking in silence. I know that kind of loneliness, the kind that doesn't come from being without people, but from being without understanding. And the enemy wants you to believe that because you're tired, because you're weary, because you're stretched thin, that you've been abandoned. But he is a liar. You are not alone. God is closer than you think. Right now, in this very moment. Not just when you're praising, not just when you're serving, not just when everything is put together, but in the messy middle of your exhaustion, he is there. In the stillness of your room, when you can't find the words to pray, when all you can do is exhale and cry, he is sitting right beside you. He is the friend that sticks closer than a brother. He is the comforter, the counselor, the one who walks with you through the valley of the shadow of death. You're not walking through that valley by yourself. You're not climbing that mountain alone. You're not sitting in the dark without light. He is with you. And I want to speak to that voice in your head that says, nobody cares. Nobody notices. Nobody understands. That voice that tries to isolate you. That voice that tells you to keep everything inside, to fight by yourself, to never ask for help. That voice is trying to cut you off from the presence of God. But God doesn't retreat when you're in pain. He draws near. You don't have to perform for his presence. You don't have to earn his love. You don't have to impress him to stay close. He's not like people. He doesn't get tired of you. He doesn't walk away when things get hard. He doesn't ghost you when your energy's low and your prayers are quiet. He stays. You Emmanuel God deeds like the star trio. Everyone has a mission, even if everyone else leaves, even if you forget you, even if you're misunderstood, misjudged, or mistreated. God stays. He is Emmanuel, God with us. Not just in the church, not just in the spotlight, but in the storm, in the struggle, in the silence. And I declare right now over your life, you've got a presence with you, a strength that doesn't fail. You may feel lonely, but you are never alone. Lift your head, beloved. Stand on this truth. The God of heaven is walking with you, holding you, keeping you. And when you feel like you can't take another step, he'll carry you. Let that settle in your spirit. You are not alone, and you never will be. Fatigue is not failure. Let that sink deep into your spirit. Just because you're tired doesn't mean you've lost. Just because you're worn out doesn't mean you've missed your calling. Just because you feel heavy doesn't mean you're out of alignment with God's will. Being tired doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. It means you've been fighting. It means you've been carrying something. It means you've been showing up when it would have been easier to walk away. You've been standing firm when the ground beneath you was shaking. You've been pressing forward through storms and shadows, and now you're tired. Not because you're weak, but because you've been strong for too long. There's a dangerous lie the enemy tries to plant in our hearts, that fatigue means you're failing, that if you really had faith, you wouldn't feel this worn, that if God were truly with you, it wouldn't feel this hard. But that's a lie from the pit of hell. Even Jesus in his human body got tired. He sat down at the well. He fell asleep in the boat. He wept in the garden. He bled on the cross. Don't you ever let the devil shame you for being human. You are not disqualified because you're exhausted. You are being prepared for greater glory. Sometimes the greatest battles happen just before the biggest breakthroughs. Sometimes your tiredness is a sign that you are right on the edge of destiny. The devil doesn't fight what isn't a threat. He fights the one carrying purpose. He fights the one carrying power. He fights the one who's getting close to something holy. So when you feel tired, don't take it as a sign to quit. Take it as a sign to lean in. That fatigue might just be proof that you're walking the right path. You didn't come this far to give up now. Hear me clearly. God is not disappointed in your weariness. He doesn't condemn you for being drained. He's not standing over you shaking his head. He's stooping down to lift you up. His strength is made perfect, not in your strength, but in your weakness. He never asked you to carry it all alone. He never called you to be invincible. He called you to be faithful, and you've done that. You've stood, you've tried, you've believed, you've held on. And God is honoring that. Fatigue is not the end. It's a checkpoint, not a dead end. It's a signal that you need to rest, not that you need to quit. So give yourself grace. Take your hands off the wheel for a moment and let God take over. Rest in him. Trust him. Let him refill what's been drained. You are not failing. You are fighting. And God is fighting with you. You're tired, yes, but you're still chosen, still anointed, still appointed. And what he started in you, he's going to finish. Rest is a promise, not a punishment. It's not weakness to need rest. It's wisdom. It's not failure to pause. It's faith. Some of us have been so conditioned to believe that rest is for the lazy, that if we're not producing, we're not valuable. But the truth is, even God himself rested on the seventh day, not because he was tired, but because he was finished. Rest is a part of the divine rhythm, and God has woven that rhythm into your life, not just as a physical need, but as a spiritual inheritance. You've been carrying too much for too long. You've been running on empty, trying to meet every need, trying to be everything for everyone. But I came to tell you, there is a place in God where the weary find refuge. There is a rest that doesn't come from a vacation or a nap. It comes from surrender. It comes from releasing the weight and trust in the one who holds the whole world in his hands. You're not meant to live burned out and broken. That's not God's will for your life. He said, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. The rest isn't just for your body. It's for your mind that won't shut off. It's for your heart that keeps breaking. It's for your spirit that's been fighting silently. Real rest is found in the presence of God. Not in escape, but in encounter. Not in distraction, but in devotion. You can be surrounded by chaos and still have peace. You can be walking through fire and still be unshaken. Because rest in a place, it's a person. It's found in him. Stop thinking you have to earn rest. Stop thinking you need permission to slow down. The same God who called you to the work is the God who calls you to the rest. You're not a machine, you're not a robot. You are a soul with limits, and God knows that. He didn't design you to run nonstop. He designed you to lean on him. And sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is rest, to sit down, to be still, to breathe, to let go. Don't be afraid to rest. Don't see it as stepping back. See it as stepping in. Stepping into grace, stepping into healing, stepping into restoration. God's rest revives what work can't fix. It heals what hustle can't touch. It restores what striving has stolen. And when you come out of that rest, you'll be stronger, sharper, more alive, more anointed. Rest is not the end of your purpose. It's what prepares you for your next assignment. And I declare right now, God is ushering you into a season of supernatural rest, a peace that passes understanding, a calm in the middle of the storm. You've done your part. Now let God do his. Rest not because you're giving up, but because you're getting ready. Your weakness is not a disqualification. It's an invitation for God to show up strong. We live in a world that worships strength, that applauds the powerful, that celebrates those who seem to have it all together. But God doesn't work the way the world works. God doesn't wait for you to get it all right before he moves. No, he steps into the broken places. He moves in the middle of the mess. He releases his power where there's room for it to flow. And it's in your weakness that his strength is made perfect. You've been taught to hide your struggle, to bury your burdens, to fake it until you make it. But God doesn't bless the version of you pretend to be. He blesses the real you, the tired you, the uncertain you, the weary you, the one who's saying, God, I don't know how much more I can take. That's a version he loves to work with. That's a version he wraps in grace and clothes in power. Because God doesn't need your strength to do what he's going to do. He just needs your surrender. When you're at the end of yourself, that's not the end of the story. That's the beginning of his glory. That's where the miraculous happens. That's where heaven invades earth. That's where he says, step aside, let me carry this. And when God carries it, when he puts his hand on your weakness, what looked like defeat turns into victory. What looked like a breakdown turns into a breakthrough. You may feel unqualified. You may feel outmatched. You may be running low. But let me remind you, God is not limited by your limitations. He chooses the unlikely. He empowers the broken. He raises up the ones nobody else would pick. Why? So when it happens, there's no confusion about where the strength came from. So when you walk out of that fire, you'll know it wasn't you, it was him. When you survive what should have taken you out, you'll testify that his grace was sufficient. Stop beating yourself up for being weak. Stop apologizing for needing help. Stop thinking God only moves through perfect people. He moves through honest people. People who know they can't do it on their own. People who fall on their knees and say, Lord, I need you. That's when he steps in. That's when power begins to flow. That's when chains break, mountains move, and doors open, not because of your strength, but because of his. So don't hide your weakness. Surrender it. Offer it to the one who can do more with your little than you could ever do with your lot. His strength is not coming to assist your ability. It's coming to replace your inability. Let him be strong for you. Let him carry you. Let him show the world what he can do. Through someone who knows they can't do it without him. You may be tired, but your purpose is still intact. Don't let the fatigue fool you. What God placed in you has not expired. The tiredness you feel doesn't cancel the calling that's on your life. The weariness in your soul does not disqualify the destiny God ordained for you. Just because you're drained doesn't mean you're done. What he spoke over you is still alive, still active, still waiting for its appointed time. You may have slowed down, but heaven hasn't canceled the assignment. You've been questioning whether you still have what it takes. You've been wondering if you missed your moment. You've been looking at your circumstances and thinking maybe that promise wasn't for me, but let me remind you, God doesn't revoke his promises when you get tired. He doesn't withdraw his plans when you feel weak. He knew you'd get weary. He knew there would be days you'd want to quit, and he made provision for it. He factored your fatigue into your future. The calling on your life is not based on your feelings. It's anchored in God's will. And what he starts, he finishes. He's not like people who walk away when you can't perform. He's not a fair weather friend who only believes in you when you're strong. He's the God who sticks with you when you're running on empty. The God who whispers to you in the dark, I'm not done with you yet. There's still oil in your jar, still fire in your bones, still breath in your body. And if there's breath, there's purpose. Don't let your current struggle make you forget your eternal significance. You weren't just created to survive. You were born to impact, to shift atmospheres, to bring light into darkness. Even when you're tired, even when you don't feel like it, God's power can flow through you. You may be crawling, but you're still moving. You may be crying, but you're still progressing. And heaven is cheering you on, saying, don't stop now. Your purpose doesn't disappear in the valley. Sometimes it's in the valley that your calling becomes clearest. Sometimes it's in the struggle that your anointing is stirred. What you've walked through has been preparing you, shaping you, strengthening you. You're not just tired, you're in transition. You're being positioned for something greater. And when you come out of this, you won't come out empty, you'll come out equipped. So lift your head, wipe your tears, square your shoulders. You are still chosen, still marked, still set apart. And what God has placed in you, no fatigue, no delay, no devil in hell can take away. You're not finished, you're just catching your breath. And when you rise again, you'll rise with a testimony, with authority, with a fresh fire. Because tired or not, your purpose still stands and the best is yet to come.